Hi theatre fans, and welcome back to my second part of my 3-show 2-day trip to London. So if you just joined me, you've missed part 1, so go back and watch my review on Fun Home, which I just saw this afternoon, and now I'm just about to go into the London Palladium to go and see The King and I at 7 o'clock. Because it's such a long show, it starts quite early, so instead of the usual 7:30 showing, it's 7. So I've just had some food and I'm just about to go in and have a look around. Okay, so I'm in and very much looking forward to seeing the show, and I've just got myself a programme, and it's quite a thick programme as well. It's I'll certainly be going through that later on, and I shall talk about it when I do my review part as well. But as far as I know, everybody is on from the original cast. I'm very much looking forward to seeing everybody in it, and I shall give you my feedback later on. I'm just actually in the new bar that they've just, I say recently, it's probably not, but it's a new bar that they've just opened up, and it's very quiet at the moment, so I'm just killing some time before the doors open and I can go in. Hello and welcome back to the review part of my vlog. So as you've just seen, I went to see the Broadway transfer version of The King and I at the London Palladium. Now this is the Broadway version that was show playing a few years ago, starring Kelly O'Hara and Ken Watanabe. And they brought the production over, including the original cast members, over for a short run at the London Palladium, and I was very, very fortunate to go and see it. I've never seen a full professional production of this show. I've only ever seen amateur production, so I was very much looking forward to seeing the show, and I gotta say I thoroughly enjoyed this show. It was everything I expected, if not more. So for those of you that don't know the story of The King and I, it is based on a 1944 novel of similar name, Anna and the King of Siam. Sort of an autobiography, true story of Anna, a widowed English teacher who is sent to Siam with her son to teach the King of Siam's numerous children and wives English, as well as etiquette and customs of the English language and ways of living. And she lives in the palace, much to her dismay. She doesn't want to. There's a bit of confusion as to where she's going to live. She thought she was going to have a house outside of the palace, but the king, being very sort of stubborn and very adamant, decides that she should live in the palace with him. So there's a great clash of personalities between the two, as both are very, very headstrong. So she, as I said, is sent to teach English and ways of living, while the king had certain different ways of living which can be classed as barbaric. And throughout the show we see that the two, who obviously don't get along very well at the start to form a friendship and a bond, especially towards the end when we find out that the king is ill and is dying, and is also considered to be quite barbaric in the outside world. And so Anna decides to throw a banquet for the English generals outside of Siam, to try to change their minds that actually he isn't as bad as they think he is, which doesn't quite go according to plan. Nevertheless, a friendship then is formed between Anna and the king, and subsequently then, just as she's about to leave, she's called back to find out that he is dying, and he then dies at the very end of the whole show. And I think she does decide to stay, because it's quite sort of open to interpretation, the ending of the whole show. Along the way as well, you have little subplots as well. You have the jealousy of one of numerous wives of the king, who obviously feels they're threatened by the relationship between Anna and the king. Subsequently also there's another storyline of a slave girl who is a gift to the king from, I think it's the king of Burma, who has sent him one of his slaves, and she is not in love with the king at all, but actually falls in love with another guy from her country, who subsequently, so they have to keep their relationship a secret, but sadly later on gets caught, because hence the Little House of Uncle Thomas ballet is performed by her, and it is her way of saying, look, I'm not in love with you, I'm in love with somebody else, so please let me go. And he's not happy about it, and sends his guards out to go and capture the guy that she is in love with, and sadly he is actually killed, not on screen, it's off stage. You used to use your imagination as to what happens to him, and so she is left unhappy. It's not a very happy story, The King and I'll be honest. It's a very simple story. It's quite a little bit dated in a way, because the story of The King and I has been around for many years. But this production, though, I thought was very slick and well performed and well executed, and I loved it all. So this production was huge. It was a big production, not only for the cast, but also for the staging, the lighting, the costumes. Some people would say that this show is quite dated, and I can understand why they would say that. But personally, me, I love the traditional, what I would call maybe the old-fashioned style of musical. Rodgers and Hammerstein have done obviously many other incredible shows, including Oklahoma, Sounds of Music, which I love anyway. And so I knew I would love The King and I. It's not one of my favourites, I'll be honest. However, I was really interested and intrigued as to how they would bring this production to make it quite modern. And I got to say, I think they quite succeeded. Like I said, the cast was huge. I'm not too sure how many cast members they had, but looking at the programme, you had quite a few, many cast members. But what I was thrilled about was that Kelly O'Hara and Ken Watanabe as Anna and the King of Siam were playing their respective roles here in London, and I did actually manage to get to see them, and I got to say the chemistry between these two was incredible. Kelly O'Hara has a magnificent voice. I will be honest, I've never heard of Kelly O'Hara prior to her appearing in The King and I, and I've subsequently researched and seen she's done a wealth of theatre over the years, and certainly I'm researching more about her on YouTube in different videos and seeing what as she has been in and listening to her. But I gotta say, I thought her voice was just spot on. It was fantastic. She could sing the phone book in my eyes. She just had a natural talent, and she held her own. And the moment she came onto the stage, right through the whole of the production, you just couldn't keep your eyes off. You couldn't keep your eyes off her, and she's just so natural, and it was just a great performance by her. And equally, Ken Watanabe, again, I had not heard of prior to seeing this production. Well, obviously, apart from knowing about the production in Broadway, I thought he did a fantastic job of the King of Siam. I mean, there were little elements where, unfortunately, I didn't quite understand what he was saying, but I'm guessing that's down to the characterization of his character. But didn't take away anything from the plot at all, or the storyline. I understood what was going on. He also was a great singer as well, very strong. But these two, you can tell they've played these characters for a long time now, and they just literally slipped into their old shoes when they came to London. So it was absolutely fantastic to see these two perform such a fantastic production as this. Now, I'm not going to go through all the characters and the actors in the whole production, as there were many of them, but I will give out a couple of standout performances. Now, as most know, I am a huge Dean John Wilson fan, and he plays Luntar in this production, which is the secret lover of Tuptim, as played by Na Young Yeon. I hope I said your name right then. Who was the slave girl who was sent to be one of the king's wives or mistresses or lovers. She doesn't love him. She actually loves Luntar, and they had a great, albeit short storyline intertwining in the show. But Dean John Wilson, I think, has got a fantastic voice. I love everything that he sings. I think he's a great actor, although he's not in this show very much. But still, his stage presence is known, as is his partner in this as well, Na Young, who also sang beautifully. They had a lovely little duet together as well, and I thought both did a fantastic job in the story as well. Now, another special mention I must give is to Naoko Mori, who played Lady Tiang, which is one of the king's wives. Now, this is a shared role along with Ruthie Ann Miles, who originated also the role in Broadway a couple of years ago, and she was coming over to London along with Kelly O'Hara and Ken Watanabe to play their respective roles from the Broadway production. But sadly, Ruth Ann Mills had an accident. I think it was a car crash prior to coming to London, and pulled out of coming to the London production. Subsequently, she made some recovery. She's not actually perfect yet, but she's made some recovery, and so she didn't want to let her fans down, and subsequently played the role on a part-time basis, sharing it with Naoko Mori in London by only doing certain performances a week. I've heard she wasn't on in the evening that I went to see the show, but I had heard she played the matinee earlier that day, and that she plays the character with a walking stick, which is understandable seeing as she was on in this crash. And I would love to have seen her in this role, because apparently she's a brilliant actress. I've seen YouTube videos of her performing this role, and she was incredible. But at the same time, though, I've got to say Naoko Mori was fantastic as well. So two fantastic actors there worth seeing as well. Now, apart from Dean John Wilson, I've never seen any of the other actors in any of the productions. Looking at the bios, obviously there's a lot of wealth of talent on the stage, and I thought they were all incredible. The children obviously are from local theatrical schools, and there was lots and lots and lots of them on stage, and I thought they all did a fantastic job. We did have a little bit of an English Cockney sort of accent come through on a lot of the children, but you know, you can overlook that, seeing as they're very, very small. But they all did a fantastic job of being the children of the King of Siam. The only character who I could not relate to, sadly, not that he was a bad actor at all, you know, he did the best that he could. It's just, I don't know, I can't put my finger on why I didn't like his character. Unfortunately, was John Chu, who played Prince Chula, I can't say it, Chulalongkorn. Anyway, it's that character there. And he plays the eldest son of the King of Siam, and who subsequently takes over as King of Siam when his father dies at the end of the show. Now, I can't really explain why I could relate to this character. It could quite possibly be because I've seen the movie so many times that I have a certain vision in my mind of how the character should be played, and this actor sadly didn't portray in a certain way that I was expecting it to be. I found his character to be a little bit weak and also a little bit older. In the movie he's quite young, but this one was practically a grown-up adult. And to form a friendship and a relationship with Louis and his son, I thought they'd be of a similar age, hence how they sort of they build that connection, and it just didn't seem right to me in this production. Like I said, I didn't say he was a bad actor, I just couldn't relate to this particular character. So even though I can't name everybody that's on in the programme, I got to say there was a wealth of talent on that stage, and everybody did a fantastic job in the portrayal of their roles in this show, and they did a brilliant job. So this production was lavish. The moment you walk into the auditorium, you are faced with two large Buddha friezes on the side of the stage, and a very nice gold cloth covering the stage as well. And then as the production starts, it starts off with a wow factor, if I'm being honest. The curtain goes up and a huge boat swims onto the stage, and Anna and her son Louis are at the bow of it, and you are literally transported to Siam straight away. It was just brilliant. It was so big, and you knew that this was going to be something special and spectacular, and the rest of the show was no exception either. I gotta say, the costumes were incredible. Anna's costumes and the corsets and the big, I don't know what you call the type of corsets, the big bouffant style dresses were just stunning. I mean, I loved the colours, I loved the style of them. I loved all the male costumes, the trousers and the jackets. Albeit they didn't wear much, I'll give that, obviously being in a hot country as Siam, they didn't need to wear as much, but I thought the costumes were incredible. Lots of golds, reds, greens, blues, a variety of different colours there, very traditional, and I thought they did a brilliant job of bringing the traditional ethnicity of the costumes alive in this production. So the majority of the staging takes place in the King's Palace, and you would have at the back of the stage a garden wall that would cover the whole of the stage, and being brought onto stage there would be pillars that move across the stage to represent different rooms or corridors as people are walking. Beds would come on, statues would come on. Not as many fly drops, I'll be honest, in this production as I thought there would be. Garden sort of greenery would come down, especially between the two secret lovers. But yeah, very in a way simple staging. Wasn't over the top, but still lavish, and it did transport you to Siam. You did believe that you were there, and I thoroughly enjoyed how they produced and portrayed this production. The highlight of the whole show and the production and the staging has got to be the ballet scene, Little House of Uncle Thomas, which was stunning, I gotta say. Now, growing up watching the movie when I was quite young, I was sort of forward that section as I found it to be too long and a little bit boring, but as an adult now I can appreciate it more for what it is, and so I was very much looking forward to seeing this, how they did the ballet scene, and I gotta say it was incredible, narrated so well and danced brilliantly. I gotta say the costumes in this were fantastic. The gold masks, the gold costumes, even the fingernails and the pointy toes. everything about it was just fantastic, and they were all in sync and performed brilliantly. I loved how the curtain at the back would open up and there'd be like an entity or a god behind on like a form of steps or step ladder being portrayed, where the clouds would go past, and then you had the rivers in the form of sheets that would come out, very similar to the film, but I mean, I think it's about 7 minutes long, the whole ballet, and wow, I was taken away by it. So yeah, overall, I loved this production. I thought it was very slick, very colourful, very lavish, everything I was expecting from it. And I can't really fault it, I'll be honest with you. It's quite a long show. I think it's almost 3 hours long. I think the first act is about an hour and a half. Then with about a 20-minute interval and then another hour or so for the second act. But I've got to be honest, the time flew by and I was transported to Siam. I was engrossed and enthralled by the whole production. I absolutely loved it. And I had to go in the stage door afterwards to meet some of the cast as well. So yeah, so at stage door, I managed to catch Dean John Wilson. I'm so glad he came out and signed a few autographs. I want to just say hello again because I've seen him in a few things over the years, and it's always nice. He's always nice to chat to, and he's always got time for his fans as well. Also, at the same time, we have Na Young Jeon come out as well. She was lovely. She was very pleasant, very happy to see us all at the back door as well. But for me, I'm absolutely thrilled that they actually came out. Was Ken Watanabe, who was actually very quick in coming out to greet us all, happy to take photos and stand up and chat with us before going back in. But then we did have to wait quite a while for Kelly O'Hara to come out. But I gotta say, it was so worth the wait. She was lovely, happy to sign autographs, happy to have photos taken, happy just to chat and talk about the production, and she was such a lovely woman. Had time for everybody who were waited there. We did have to wait a while for it to come out, but I'm glad that I waited, and I'm thrilled that I got to see a lot of the cast members as they came out to congratulate them on a fantastic show. So let's talk about the seating then. Now, the Palladium is a large venue. I've seen a few shows in the Palladium and I've sat in the stalls a few times. So yeah, as usual, I sat in the stalls. I sat in row Q24. Now, when I booked my ticket, I was umming and ahhing where I was going to sit. So I had the option of sitting a lot closer, but obviously you need to bear in mind that the tickets are a lot more expensive the closer you are to the stage, well, depending. And I didn't want to sit too close to the stage, as I found sometimes it can be too much in your face with a big production like this. I want to appreciate it all and take it all in, so I thought I'll sit a little bit further back. Now, in row Q, you are slightly under the overhang, but you don't miss the top of the stage. I do wish I sat a little bit closer. I know it would have meant to have paying a bit more money. Not that it was a bad view from my seat, in fact it was a great view, but I think I would have liked to have sat just a bit closer to appreciate it all. Now, in row Q, I found that some of the seats weren't staggered enough, and there was actually a seat right in front of me. Normally they're quite staggered, but this was right in front of me, and I did think, if I got a tall person sitting in front of me, I'm not going to be able to see the stage at all. Luckily, I had a relatively shortish woman sit in front of me, but she also had somebody in front of her, so she was leaning to one side like this, so I was leaning on the other side, so literally I could see the full stage clearly through her, because she had to move to see as well. So I was lucky in that sort of sense, but it could have gone horribly wrong. Could have had somebody tall in front of me and I wouldn't be able to see anything. So bear that in mind as well if you are looking at booking seats further back in the Palladium. I can't remember what the seats are like further forward, if they are as staggered or not. There is a rake obviously in the Palladium, so you can see over the head in front. But like I said, not a bad seat, comfy, plenty of leg room, but I wish I sat a little bit further forward. But nevertheless, I did enjoy the production from where I sat. So that is my review on The King and I at the London Palladium. And have you seen it, or are you going to see it? Are you looking forward to seeing it? Or for those of you that have seen it, what was your favourite bit? I'd love to hear from you on your thoughts and opinions on the show. Everybody I've spoken to absolutely raved and loved the production, and as did I, and rightly so. It is a great production, and if you are thinking of going to see it, please do, especially as it's on a short run and it has the original actors and characters in it from the Broadway production. So yeah, so leave your comments and thoughts and opinions down below in the comments section, as I love to read your thoughts and opinions on shows. And also, if you like this video, then please hit that like button, and if you want to see more of my videos, then please hit that subscribe button as well. I regularly visit theatres in London or South Wales, especially Cardiff, regularly, and I try to vlog my thoughts and opinions on the shows that I see. I've got plenty more shows coming up later this year, so look out for those videos very, very soon. So I just want to say thank you very much for watching my video, and until next time, happy theatre.